Eating 4 meals a day at McDonald's would be considered excessive, but is visiting 4 countries? Are you a twat if you wear sunglasses inside? Will I miss any of my train connections, or is all of this just fake suspense? Brace yourself, we're about to find out. I started my day off in Switzerland's largest city, Zurich. With around about an hour before the first train of the day departs, I went for a short walk, firstly along the Liechtenstein river that runs through the old town, with the source being that of Lake Zurich. The previous day, I enjoyed a bit of time next to the lake. It's pretty idyllic with people swimming in the lake and cruising around on boats. It's all rather nice. Not that the city always used to be this perfect. There was a massive drug problem that lasted in Zurich well over 25 years. However, luckily it's all under control now, and you're more likely to see someone ODing on fondue than you are fentanyl. And being early, the old town was quiet, the cobble streets still waking up, and I had plenty of space to not be seen trying to make a YouTube video, which, let's be honest, is the ultimate shame. On the surface, Zurich is a very civilised place indeed. Not the most exciting nor the biggest city, but well worth a day or two of your time. My time, however, this morning was sadly running out, so I climbed up to the viewpoint known as Lindenhof, probably my favourite spot in Zurich, looking out over the river and the rooftops. I'd been there the day before when it was a lot more crowded, so having it almost to myself this morning was a nice change. Just me, a small family, and the view. After checking the time, I realised I needed to head to the train station. Today's route involved 3 trains and a bus passing through 3 different countries, plus a short walk into a bonus one. My first stop was the small town of Sagan, still in Switzerland, but with a local bus to take me across the border into one of only 2 countries in the world that are double landlocked. Can you guess which they are? Settled on the train, I watched the Swiss views pass by, sat back and reflecting on the past few days. How did I feel about Switzerland? Well, neutral. When I arrived in Sargans, I spotted my bus right away from the train platform and hurried over. That bus would take me across the border and straight into Liechtenstein's capital, the big city of Vaduz. From all the excitement of crossing over the border, my GoPro decided to die. I must have left it running in my pocket or something. So I switched over to filming with my phone. Not that I was expecting much to see or film in Vaduz itself. There are some interesting facts about Liechtenstein, but not many. My favourite, and one hinted at before, is that it's one of only 2 countries in the world to be double landlocked. The other being Uzbekistan. Like my home country of England, Liechtenstein isn't part of the European Union, and with them using the Swiss francs as our currency, you could easily pass through the country without ever realising you left Switzerland. After walking through the centre of town, I came to realise the only real landmark in Vaduz is the castle, so I started following the road up the hill. And the walk, well, it started to feel more like a mountain village than the capital city, with quiet paths, vineyards and lots of houses that I'll never be able to afford. Just before reaching the castle, there's a fantastic view over the whole country, and right back into Switzerland across the Rhine River. The castle itself, well, unfortunately it's off limits. Another similarity to England is that Liechtenstein still has a royal family, and they just so happen to occupy the castle. I had no real interest in seeing inside the castle anyway. The walk itself was interesting enough. I've been meaning to visit Liechtenstein for a few years now. However, my desire to come here was that similar to cleaning out my garage. It's a nice idea, but it's a lot of effort. However, in reality, it wasn't too bad. A short flight, a train and a bus ride, and here you are in Liechtenstein, a country with frankly not too much to do. As the day went on and the time of my next train getting closer, I decided to walk my way out of Liechtenstein, crossing the border and following the river to the Swiss town of Buches to catch a connecting train. Arriving in the Swiss town of Margareten, I had an hour to wait before the final train. So I had a quick look at Google Maps just to see exactly where I was, and I quickly noticed just how close I was to the Austrian border. So for the sake of it, and to add one more country to the day, I decided to take a little walk over to that border, stepping into Austria and then walking right back again. Possibly a waste of time, but before I knew it, I was on the final train of the day, and a few hours later, I crossed into Germany on my way to Munich. Nearly 12 hours since departing Zurich, I decided to save the exploring for the next day. The following morning, I set out with my camera again. I'd been in Munich about 10 years ago, and with no specific plan this time, I decided just to simply wander around for the day. I drifted through the side streets until I ended up in a park, a place that really gave me deja vu. On my previous trip to Munich, I took along my film camera, a Nikon FE2 for those curious. Unfortunately, the roll of film I shot didn't really develop all that well, so here's the only almost acceptable photo from that trip. So, can you visit 4 countries in a single day? Well, obviously yes, and with relative ease. But the main goal of this trip was to finally visit the tiny country of Liechtenstein, and it was well worth it. I only spent a few hours there, but it was a real pleasant way to spend a Tuesday afternoon. Liechtenstein was definitely the highlight of this trip. It's a really cool place, especially if you're like me and love geography and have the goal of visiting every European country. If you're not, well, you're probably better off sticking with Austria or Switzerland. And now with Liechtenstein ticked off, I've completed all the European microstates. And Luxembourg, congratulations, you were the most boring. For those of you who are curious, please check out my website to read more travel blogs and articles from trips that were admittedly a lot more exciting than this one.